You waited in line for 3 hours. You paid money you probably shouldn't have spent. You told your friends, your family, everybody tonight was the night you were finally going to see your favorite artist live. And then they didn't show up, or worse, they showed up late, rushed through the set, looked at you like you were bothering them just by being there. Ten R&B legends, 10 voices that shaped everything we love about soul music. Artists who built entire careers on making us feel seen, understood, loved, and then they turned around and treated us like we didn't matter at all. Some no-showed so often that riots broke out. Some walked off stage mid-song because they didn't feel like finishing. Some looked fans dead in the eye and said, "You're lucky I'm even here." These aren't rumors. These aren't exaggerations. These are documented incidents that the music industry hoped we'd forget. We didn't forget. Number 10, Bobby Womack. Bobby Womack had one of the smoothest voices in soul music. If you think you're lonely now, Woman's Gotta Have It, Harry Hippie. The man could sing pain like he invented it. When Bobby opened his mouth, you felt something crack open in your chest. But here's what tore his fans apart, and I mean literally tore them apart. December 1964, Sam Cooke, the king of soul, the man who changed everything, was shot and killed at a Los Angeles motel. The music world went into mourning. Sam wasn't just a legend. He was the standard. And Bobby Womack, Sam had mentored him, put him on, giving him his first real shot in the music business. And I'm searching everywhere, and I'm looking. 3 months later, Bobby married Sam's widow, Barbara. 3 months. The body was barely cold. The grief hadn't even settled. And Bobby moved in on his mentor's family like he'd been waiting for the opportunity. Fans were devastated. This wasn't just a scandal. This was a betrayal of everything Sam Cooke represented. People sent hate mail to Bobby's house. Someone mailed a baby doll in a tiny coffin. Radio stations across Black America stopped playing his records. DJs who had championed him suddenly couldn't say his name. And if that wasn't enough to destroy your faith in the man, years later, it came out that Bobby had been having an affair with Barbara's daughter, his stepdaughter, Linda Cooke, the child of the man who made his career. Barbara found out. She got a gun. She shot him. The bullet grazed his head. You know that saying about never meeting your heroes? Bobby Womack is why that saying exists. Some betrayals don't just hurt the family. They hurt everyone who believed in you. And Bobby Womack made believers feel like fools. Number 9, Teddy Pendergrass. Things ain't right. I'm losing again. Teddy Pendergrass was the definition of a sex symbol in the 1970s. 5 consecutive platinum albums, the first black male artist to ever do that. Trying to hold on, think it's gone. It's just another... Women threw their underwear on stage at his concerts. He invented the ladies only show, where only women were allowed in the building, and Teddy would come out and just devastate them. Try to take control of the love. The man's voice could make you feel things you didn't even know you were capable of feeling. But behind the seduction, Behind the teddy bears they handed out at his shows, behind the tank tops and the sweat, was a man who made people wait. Kenny Gamble, the co-founder of Philadelphia International Records, the man who helped build Teddy's career, said it plain in an interview. Teddy had a hot head, a little arrogant, and he wasn't being unfair. He was being honest.
This time I'm gonna win.
Journalists would show up on time for scheduled interviews and sit in Teddy's living room for an hour while he made phone calls. Just sat there, watching him handle business like they weren't even in the room, like their time meant nothing. One writer for Wax Poetics magazine grew up on Philadelphia International. Teddy Pendergrass was his hero. He finally got the interview of his dreams. And Teddy, in his words, straight up got at me, combative, dismissive, like the whole thing was beneath him.
What you say about it looks like another love team.
Now look, confidence is one thing. When you've sold that many records, when you've got that much talent, you've earned some swagger. But there's a difference between confidence and contempt. And if you ever caught Teddy on the wrong day, you felt the difference in your bones.
Like I wanna say.
Fans forgave a lot because the music was that good. But some of them never forgot how it felt to be on the receiving end of that arrogance. Real talk. Only 9% of you are subscribed. That hurts. We're spending hours digging through archives, fact-checking every detail, bringing these stories back to life. And if you're watching this far, you clearly care. So hit subscribe. It's free and takes 2 seconds. Now, to my subscribers, barely any of you have joined the membership. And honestly, that stings even more. You know the work we put in. You keep coming back. If these videos have ever made you feel something, if this music means something to you, join the membership. It's $1 coffee a month, and it's the only way we keep this going. Let's build this together. All right, back to it. Number 8, Marvin Gaye. Marvin Gaye gave us What's Going On? Let's get it on. Sexual healing.
Healing is something that's good for me.
Music so intimate, so personal, so perfectly crafted that it felt like he was singing directly into your soul, not to a crowd, to you.
Get up, get up, get up, get up. Let's make love tonight.
But getting Marvin Gaye on a stage in front of actual people, that was a different story entirely. From 1969 to 1974, 5 full years, Marvin barely toured. He had crippling stage fright, depression that came in waves and pulled him under, a mercurial temperament that made him retreat from the very people who needed his presence the most. His brother Frankie wrote about watching Marvin perform at the Copacabana in New York City during this era. Marvin came out in a top hat and tails, looking like something out of a 1930s movie musical. He wanted to be Frank Sinatra. He wanted to sing standards and show the world he was more than just an R&B singer. The problem, his fans didn't want Frank Sinatra. They wanted Marvin Gaye. And when he performed his Motown material at these supper clubs, the audience just stared, confused, like they'd paid to see someone else entirely. Marvin told Billboard in 1966 that he felt very strongly about R&B, but that he wanted to become known as a more versatile singer. The headline they ran summed up his whole problem. Gay, Poppin' with Pop keeps Cy on First Love.
Sexual healing, sexual.
He never fully resolved that tension, and his fans paid for it.
Get up, get up, get up, get up. Let's make love tonight.
If you loved Marvin Gaye, you loved him from a distance because he kept retreating to the studio, avoiding the road, making you wait years between chances to see him live.
If you don't know the thing you're dealing.
Some artists can't handle being needed that much. Marvin was one of them.
Love mine, and it's good for us. Sexual.
Number 7, Millie Jackson.
And you throw it up against the wall.
Now, Millie Jackson is a complicated entry on this list. Because unlike everyone else we've talked about so far, Millie didn't hide who she was. She wasn't pretending to be one thing and then revealing something uglier behind closed doors. Millie was the queen of raunchy soul. Album covers shot while she sat on a toilet. Language so explicit that Richard Pryor would have blushed.
'Cause if it kills me, I don't care.
Long profanity-laced monologues in the middle of her live shows where she'd talk about cheating husbands and side pieces and exactly what she thought of men who couldn't handle a strong woman. The Washington Post called her a veteran virtuoso of vulgarity in 1986.
It's hard for me to bear. I make myself.
Jessie Jackson, not related, publicly warned listeners to stay away from her concerts. Her records carried for mature audience only warnings years before that was standard practice.
In the streets. Anything you want to do.
And here's the thing, that same brutal honesty that made her a cult legend, it kept her off radio, off television, off the mainstream entirely.
Then you take my mind and play.
If you brought your kids to a Millie Jackson show thinking you were getting a nice soul concert, you were going to have a very uncomfortable night. And Millie? She didn't care. She was going to do her thing regardless of who she made uncomfortable.
Even though sometimes
some fans absolutely loved it. They came specifically for the chaos, for the truth-telling, for the experience of watching a woman say things no one else would say on a stage. Others felt alienated, pushed away by an artist who seemed more interested in shocking people than connecting with them.
you're doing to me.
Was Millie spiting her fans? Or was she just being herself so aggressively, so unapologetically, that it became impossible for certain people to follow her? You probably already know which side of that question you're on.
And you throw it up against the wall.
Number 6, Rick James.
To me, you say I'm so crazy.
Rick James was funk royalty. Super freak, give it to me, baby. Mary Jane, you and I. The man made you want to move. When Rick James was on, there was nobody else in the genre who could touch him. But Rick's relationship with his fans was complicated by one thing above all else: $7,000 a week. That's how much cocaine Rick James admitted to spending on drugs for 5 straight years. $7,000 every single week.
Give it to me. Give me that stuff, that funk, that sweet, that funky stuff. Give it to me.
And what happens when you're that deep into addiction? You stop caring about the people around you. You stop caring about consequences. You start doing things that the sober version of yourself would never have dreamed of. Rick slapped Charlie Murphy, Eddie Murphy's brother, so hard that it became a cultural moment decades later on Chappelle's show.
You'll start to grooving. Come on, girl. Give it to me, baby. Give it to me, baby.
He smacked Alfonso Ribeiro, Carlton from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, during what was supposed to be a friendly meeting.
I just wanna love you. I just wanna love you, baby.
At his own birthday party in 1980, Rick grabbed Prince by the back of his hair and poured cognac down his throat until, in Rick's own words, Prince started crying like a baby. And that was just the celebrity stuff.
Give it to me, give it to me, give me a stuff that's sweet, funky stuff.
In 1991, Rick James was convicted of imprisoning and torturing two different women who refused to party with him the way he wanted. He burned one woman with a heated crack pipe. He held them captive. He did over 2 years in prison. When he came back on Chappelle's show in 2004, it was supposed to be redemption. Cocaine is a hell of a drug. The whole country laughed. The catchphrase became legendary. But for the women he hurt, for the fans who watched their hero spiral into something unrecognizable, there wasn't much funny about any of it.
I'm tired, let's go home.
That's the time I stop romancing.
Rick died 4 months after that Chappelle show appearance. The autopsy found 9 different drugs in his system. Cocaine was one of them. Super freak indeed.
Baby, tell me what you say.
Give it to me. Give it to me.
Number 5, Ike Turner. Ike Turner was a genuine pioneer. His 1951 recording, Rocket 88, is considered by many historians to be the first rock and roll record ever made. He taught B.B. King. He produced Howlin' Wolf. He helped discover and develop more talent than most people could name. The man helped build the foundation that everything we're talking about in this video stands on. But what the fans saw on stage during the Ike and Tina Turner review, that was something else entirely. They saw Tina Turner, one of the most electrifying performers in music history, giving absolutely everything she had, night after night, while something behind her eyes looked broken. What they didn't know, what most of them couldn't have known, was what was happening behind the scenes. Ike beat Tina regularly, brutally. He burned her lip with a cigarette. He poured hot coffee on her face. He forced her to go on stage when she was sick, when she was injured, when she was pregnant and could barely stand. He controlled everything, the money, the schedule, her life. When Tina finally escaped in 1976, she walked away with 36 cents in her pocket. That's what she had after 16 years of being the reason people bought tickets to their shows. 36 cents. Ike later admitted to the abuse in interviews. "Yeah, I hit her," he said, then tried to justify it with one of the most disgusting sentences ever spoken. "Not more than the average guy beats his wife." The average guy. That's what he thought of himself. That's how he processed what he'd done. And for the fans who loved Tina, who felt something powerful every time they watched her perform, who had no idea what they were really witnessing, Ike Turner made them complicit in something they never would have chosen. Number 4, David Ruffin.
To take the place of you.
David Ruffin sang Lead On, My Girl. Let that sink in for a second. One of the most perfect love songs ever recorded. A song that has soundtracked first dances at weddings for 60 years. That voice, raspy, aching, gospel-soaked, could make you believe that everything was going to be okay.
That
David Ruffin was the reason the Temptations became legends. But when they fired him in 1968 for his ego, his drug problems, and his erratic behavior, David didn't just walk away. He came back again and again and again.
Ooh, you're clinging to me tighter.
David Ruffin would show up at Temptations concerts unannounced, crash the stage, and physically steal the microphone away from Dennis Edwards.
Every time you touch my hand,
the man they'd hired to replace him, mid-song, in front of thousands of fans who had paid money to see a professional show, not a public meltdown. The group eventually had to hire extra security guards specifically to keep David out of the building. And here's the thing, the ego had always been there.
but I don't understand, so I'm leaving.
Before he got fired, David demanded that the group be renamed David Ruffin and the Temptations.
Will we go someday?
He traveled separately from the other four members in his own custom limousine, sometimes with Tammy Terrell by his side. He missed rehearsals. He missed shows. He acted like he was the only one who mattered. But it's the sabotage that really gets you. Because those fans in those arenas, they didn't buy tickets to watch David work out his personal grudges. They came to hear the music. They came for an experience. And David made it about himself anyway.
But those arms got around me.
Cocaine and heartbreak took him in 1991. He was dropped off at a Philadelphia hospital with a crack overdose and died an hour later. Still chasing something he was never going to get back.
And I'd rather leave you holding on.
Number 3, Diana Ross. Diana Ross is Motown royalty. That's not an exaggeration, that's just a fact. Stop! In the name of love, ain't no mountain high enough. I'm coming out. Endless love, a voice and a presence that defined an entire era of American popular music. But if you were standing next to Diana Ross when the cameras started rolling, you learned very fast who the star was.
You turned me inside.
May 16th, 1983. Motown 25. Yesterday, today, forever. One of the most watched music specials in television history. The whole world is tuned in. Michael Jackson moonwalks for the first time. Legends reunite on stage. It's supposed to be a celebration.
I'm aware that you're cheating when no one makes me feel like you do.
The Supremes come out for their reunion segment. Diana, Mary Wilson, Cindy Birdsong, and Mary Wilson steps to the microphone to introduce Berry Gordy, the man who created Motown. Don and Diana Ross, on national television in front of millions of viewers, shoves her.
And round, instinctively you
Physically pushes Mary Wilson out of the way, pushes the microphone away from her face, because Diana had to be the one to do it.
boy, you turned me inside out. And
Mary Wilson later admitted that the Supremes' moment at Motown 25 felt unfulfilling. It was more like Marvin Gaye or Michael Jackson or Diana Ross, she said. As the Supremes, we were no longer the queens. Other Motown artists noticed too. Gladys Knight, Martha Reeves.
I know you got charm and appeal. You always play the field.
The whispers in the industry weren't quiet. Diana looked down on people. She treated the women who helped build her career like they were lucky to be in her presence.
I said upside down, you're turning me. You're giving love instinctively.
There were reports that she fired entire staffs on a whim and then badmouthed them to future employers. Made sure they couldn't get hired anywhere else.
For you, that's the bottom line. Upside down.
If you crossed Diana Ross, your career in her orbit was over. When you love someone's music, you want to believe they're as beautiful inside as they sound on record. Diana Ross made that incredibly hard to believe.
Turn me inside out and round.
Number 2, James Brown.
So good, I got you.
James Brown was the hardest working man in show business. That wasn't marketing, that was documented fact.
When I hold you.
Papa's got a brand new bag. I got you, I feel good. Get up off of that thing. Say it loud. I'm black and I'm proud.
I know that I can't do no wrong.
The man invented funk. He influenced every genre that came after him. He is sampled more than almost anyone in the history of recorded music.
So good, so good.
But behind the cape drops, behind the splits, behind the screams and the sweat and the spectacle was a system designed to punish anyone who wasn't absolutely perfect. James Brown fined his band members on stage during performances while the audience watched. One wrong note, $5. Shoes not shined to his standards, $5. Wrinkles in your tuxedo, $5. Miss a cue, $5.
I feel nice.
James would flash hand signals with his back to the audience, signals that looked like part of the choreography, and those signals meant someone was losing money. And $5 in the 1960s was nothing. When you could rack up multiple fines in a single night, that money added up fast.
I feel good.
Some musicians ended up mowing James Brown's lawn just to work off what they owed him. Maceo Parker, his legendary saxophonist who played with James for decades, described the rules. You got to be on time. You got to have your uniform. Your stuff's got to be intact. You got to have the bow tie. You cannot come up without a cummerbund. The patent leather shoes we were wearing got to be greased.
I know that I can't do no wrong.
And if you decided to leave, James made you return the uniforms, the shoes, everything he'd bought for you. He called himself Soul Brother number 1.
But I got you. So good.
But to the musicians who made his sound possible, who created those legendary grooves, who backed him up night after night, they were employees, expendable, and they knew it every time those hand signals started flying.
When I hold you.
Number 1, Sly Stone. Sly Stone brought us everyday people. Dance to the music. Thank you for letting me be myself, Ogden. Family Affair. Stan. Music that made the whole world believe we could come together. Black and white, men and women, different backgrounds, same groove. Sly and the Family Stone wasn't just a band, it was a vision of what America could be. And then he started disappearing. In 1970, Sly Stone missed 26 out of 80 scheduled concerts. Let me say that again. 1 out of every 3 shows. Gone, canceled, no-showed. Fans drove for hours, paid for tickets they couldn't really afford, brought their kids to see a legend, waited in the heat, waited in the cold, and Sly just didn't show up. July 27, 1970, Grant Park, Chicago. It was supposed to be a free concert, a goodwill gesture to the city. 35,000 people showed up. Some arrived at 7 in the morning for a show scheduled to start at 4 in the afternoon. The temperature hit the 90s. People waited in that heat for 9 hours. And then rumors started spreading that Sly wasn't coming. The riot lasted 5 hours. 162 people were injured. 126 police officers were hospitalized. 3 people were shot. Cars were set on fire. Stores were looted. And Sly was there. He was backstage the whole time, he wanted to go on. But by the time the violence started, the mob had destroyed the sound system. It was too late. His biographer, Joel Selvin, said band members would wait backstage for hours at shows, never knowing if Sly was going to appear. Promoters became terrified to book him. By 1975, Sly Stone played Radio City Music Hall to a venue that was 1/8 full. The man who headlined Woodstock, who had the entire world in his hands, couldn't fill the room. His contract started including penalty clauses, $5,000 if he didn't arrive by 8 p.m., $20,000 if he wasn't on stage by 10:30. You want to know what spite looks like? It's having everything. The talent, the band, the songs, the fans who believed in you with everything they had, and actively choosing to let it all burn. Sly Stone wasn't just late. He wasn't just unreliable. He was the ultimate betrayal of what it means to have people who love you,